Tripping. Tripping with Theobold.
Come on, Dre.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Tripping with Theobold. I'm your host, Andre Theobold. Welcome to the show. Glad you could tune in. Sorry I'm a little late. Had some technical difficulties, but it looks like I was the only one in my stream anyway. Oh well. But now I'm getting the hang of this. You know what I mean? So let me just make sure I'm actually live, because there's been a few times, because the way YouTube does it, man, is you set everything up. You got to do all these different, it's a lot of stuff you got to do behind the scenes. And it's like you then have to then go through and push go, right? And it's like it's not that intuitive. But once you do it, I mean, it makes sense. But okay, I'm in here. Cool. All right. So today's episode, it's gonna be a fun episode, man. Just felt like having a silly episode, man. So let me check my levels, make sure I'm good. Let me just make sure everything is good right quick. Okay, I'm in here. Cool. All right. Yeah. So in this episode, man. Oh, I don't want to. This is a lot of noise. All right, there we go. So this episode, like I said, it's supposed to be a fun episode. Um, yeah. We're just gonna run down like the top 10. These are my top 10 like funny moments of all time. Like these were moments where like I was like some of these may seem stupid to you, but I mean to me the shit was funny, man. And like I laughed uncontrollably while the shit was happening. Like I was laughing uncontrollably. I could not stop laughing, you know. So it's not me like recanting something that after the fact I thought it was funny. It's like, nah, this happened in the moment and I was laughing uncontrollably in the moment. And some of the stuff still make me laugh to this day, you know. So let's just let's go ahead and just go dive right on into it, man. Um Let me just see right quick. Here we go. All right, so first moment number one, man. Here we go. Like, um, let's just go. Here's the first one, man. So the first one is, I may have told this one on another episode, but if y'all heard it, you know, bear with it again. You know, um, so the first moment that made me laugh uncontrollably, man, was it was when my so my folks had this thing where for our birthdays, you know, my mom's birthday is in October, my dad's birthday was in October, mine is in January, and we basically had this thing where every birthday we just would go to Ruth Chris Steakhouse, right? And my dad could never say Ruth Chris, man. That was like the first thing, right? My dad could never say Ruth Chris. You know, he would always say uh he would say Root Crisp. He'd be like, "Yo, we're gonna go to Ruth Crisps." I'm like, man, what the hell is Root Crisp? Anyways, we're at Root Crisp, man. One time I don't know what it was, man, but there was it seemed like they had like too many workers or too many staff people like working, like too many waiters and stuff, you know. And uh there was like a lot of people like standing around, like there were like a lot of waiters and waitresses standing around with a water pitcher. And you know, we had these like glasses of water, you know, and every time you took a sip, they would come rush over and pour the water back in, right? So whatever you drank, they would pour like that water from the pitcher to fill up that cup back to that level. So I guess the uh memo from the management staff was to make sure people's cups stay full, right? So here it is, man. We're taking a sip here and water back in. Take a sip, water back in, you know? And and we were all kind of just looking, but no one said anything. And my dad had enough. And what he did was, as soon as he took a sip, as soon as the lady came over with the pitcher of water, he put his hand over his cup, and the water hit his hand, and he just said, "No more." Like me and my mom, the way like everyone around us laughed, man, because it was like, yeah, they were doing too much, you know. But I think the reason why that shit was funny, man, was because, like I said, everybody was like kind of like everyone felt it, but my dad had his own way of like dealing with it, you know. And instead of just saying, "Hey, miss, hey, like no more water, please. I'm not gonna need any more water," or "Hey, can you please not fill up my cup?" He just kept taking a sip, and when he took a sip and put it back down, he put his hand over his cup. The water hit his head, and he just said, "No more." That shit was stupid, man. That was moment number 10. So they're gonna increase progressively, right? I know that's silly, but you know they're gonna. Right, that's why the show is called Tripping with Theobold. Cause we tripping right now. All right, let me see what's the next moment, man. Um, oh man, this is funny, man. So like, so this was at my grandma's house, and like my dad had this habit of he could never put the top back on like ketchup or anything that had a top, right? So for example, like if it was an A1 bottle or a hot sauce bottle or ketchup, right? He would fumble with the top, but he wouldn't put it on. Like he spent more time doing this shit, and the top wouldn't. The top would never go on. He would just sit there doing this, like fumbling around, you know, with the top, and the the top or the top to the bottle would be like this on the hat. So this would be like, so like say I'm the bottle, right? This would be the top, right? And this is how my dad would leave the top on the bottle, you know, and he's sitting there fumbling around doing this, trying to put the top half on. So we had my grandma's house, and we had some of this Bayesian hot sauce, right, from Barbados. And my dad finished, and we had like omelets and stuff in the morning, and my dad was fumbling with the top, and the top to the hot sauce was sitting sideways like this. And my grandma liked to shake shit, you know, so my grandma got the hot sauce and shook it, and then hot sauce was all over the all over the fucking ceiling. Yeah, man, my grandma was mad, man. Like my grandma was mad, yo. Like my grandma, um, she was like, "Who the hell didn't put the hot sauce back on the bottle?" My dad looked right at me and blamed me. He said he did it. And he said it with the quickness. And my mom was like, nigga, you don't put the top on shit. Andre doesn't even eat this hot sauce on his stuff. So that was you. And all my dad said was, oh, okay, okay, okay. Oh man. So the reason why that was funny, man, was like I said, man, just watching my dad struggle putting the top back on the shit. Like he would, it was like if he just put the hand on the bottle and put the top on and turned once, it would be on there, right? But he tried to do it where he would hold the bottle in the hand and put the top on, and he would just fumble with the with the top, and then he would just leave it half on, half off, you know. So yeah, that's moment number 9. Cause we're going backwards, right? We're increasing as we go up, right? So eighth funniest moment to where I busted out laughing, man. Like I just couldn't stop laughing, man. Was so I played basketball in high school. I was on the freshman and JV team, and this happened when we were on the JV team. We had this one player on our team. His name was Donnell. And Donnell, like I'm trying to paint a picture, but he kind of looked like a silly version of um or he kind of looked like a silly version or a not so serious version of Terrence Bud Crawford. You know, that's who he resembled, like just the way he looked, you know, but he was like kind of goofy, kind of silly, you know. And Donnell, like he had handles, like he could cross people up, you know. And we were playing, it was an away game. We were playing either Bishop Ironton or we were playing Georgetown Prep. And this white dude that was picking him up on defense as he came across the court, like he smacked the floor and did this, right? So whenever people smack the floor and do this, that means they serious, you know? So the white dude went like this on the floor and did like this, and he was D'ing Donnell up, right? He was D'ing Donnell up. And then Donnell had this like cross where he was like bringing the ball across court. And then when he got close to him, Donnell did this move and just it was like it started high and it was soup, 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 soup. And he folded him, right? So the white dude fell over, and as Donnell crossed him up, he pointed at him and laughed. And then the whole bench exploded and we were laughing. And right when Donnell got to the like got in to go for the layup, our coach Hammond blew the whistle and sat Donnell on the bench. That shit was so fucking funny. Oh man. Crossed him up beautifully, man, and laughed in his face as he passed him. And it wasn't even just a laugh, it's like he laughed and pointed like it's like it all happened in slow motion, man. Oh, that shit was funny. Um, and I don't know the reason why. Like, I think I couldn't stop laughing at that moment during the time when it happened was because it went from something serious to something so like outlandish, man. Like it went from something silly. No, it went from something serious to something embarrassing to something like so silly, man. In the time span of like 3 seconds, man. You know, it was like because Donnell had that look, and like he was and came up and just crossed his. This motherfucker just he was sitting there like he did this, and right when he got crossed, you just saw this motherfucker lean over. He fell over, crossed the shit out of him, man. Oh man, and the fact that the coach wouldn't let him finish the play, man, like he called timeout and sat him on the bench for taunting or whatever. Oh, that shit was so hilarious, man. Oh man, what's the next moment, man? Next moment was oh, this is stupid. Um, so this was like on Father's Day, right? Me and my man said was a dude I went to college with. Um, and he's an O's fan. I'm a Nationals fan. You know, we watch baseball. You know, he's a true Baltimorean. Um, like he goes for like the Ravens, the Orioles. Like he was a fan of the Colts before the Colts got snatched up back in the '80s. And then he goes for the Sixers because he went to Temple, you know, and said stayed on my floor, you know. So, anyways, like says like one of my longtime friends or whatever. And this is when we got out of school. We graduated and everything, and we wanted to go to the Battle of the Beltway, right? Because that's when the Orioles play the Nationals. So I think we went to all three games because it was a 3 game series at Nat Stadium, and I think Nat Stadium just I'm not sure if it just opened up or what, but we went to all 3 games, right? So the first game we went to, you know, it was dope, but you know, Nationals back then were terrible, so we got smashed, or we got yeah, we got like we weren't a good baseball team back then. Hell, we weren't a good team last year, but I mean, we won the World Series like in 2019. But before that, man, we were garbage, man. So, and I think this was before we even had Bryce Harper. I think, yeah, this was before we had Bryce Harper. Um, so, um, we go to the. It was game one, and we got blown out or whatever. But we met this guy who it was like an older white dude, and we originally were gonna go to game one and game three because we were gonna bring our fathers to game three for Father's Day on Sunday, you know. But the guy that we sat next to, he was like, you know, he has season tickets, and not only that, but he had like a luxury suite. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, yeah, he's like, man, I'm not coming to the game tomorrow. If y'all want to come, man, here you can come tomorrow, and y'all can go be up in the luxury um boxes or whatever. And we're like thinking it's a joke, but he was like, I remember he was talking. He was like, "Yeah, nah, man." He's like, "Look, man, this is like a tax write off for me. It's not a big deal. You know, I bring my clients here and all this." And we're like, "Man, this dude's up here. This is how rich people do this shit, man. They write like they be writing off bullshit." But whatever, that's not the story, right? So, anyways, we come back for game two, and it's a night game on Saturday, and Nationals getting blown out, you know. But then it was like a thunderstorm in the area, and then they had to like it was a rain delay, and then they just said, nah, since the Nationals were getting blown out, they were like, there's no need to like play it, like there's no need to run this game back, right? So game three, I bring my pop to the game. Sarah brings his pop to the game, but we're sitting like on different parts of the stadium, right? Like me and my pop are sitting like along, you know, the like we're sitting along the first baseline, not on the line, but we're like maybe like I don't know, maybe like 30 rows back from the first baseline. And said in his pop are like in the nosebleeds, like in the back, like towards like right field or whatever, right? Like they're just way in the back. Um, so we're like here, said and his pop are like right here. And the game is 4-1, right? Nationals getting beat, right? It's about to be a sweep. We're we're getting beat 4-1. It's bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, and we got Ronnie Belliard at the plate, right? Ronnie Belliard. I mean, the only reason I remember his name is because of what he did. That I'm about to tell you what he did. So, anyways, it's a 3-2 count. Ronnie Belliard, man, last pitch, knocked it out the park, home run, grand slam, right? Walk off home run, right? Nats win 5-4. And as soon as that ball hit the bat, I saw said pop up, man. I saw like his silhouette just jump up and just head for the exits. This nigga's like he was mad, man. That shit had me fucking crying. Like the whole time, like when he hit the home run, and I saw him just pop up and just head to the exits, man. I was crying, laughing, man. And I picked up the phone. I was texting him, and he wouldn't respond back. You know, so I'm calling and texting and calling and texting. He wouldn't answer his phone for nothing. Finally, later on that night, I finally get a hold of him. I was like, "Yo, man, what happened to you, man?" He was like, "Yeah, nigga, you know what happened." He was like, "Yeah, you know what happened." He said, "Y'all hit that lucky ass shit." So yeah, nah, he was like, cause he was mad, cause that he thought that we were gonna get swept. And in his mind, I think the reason why he popped up so fast when Ronnie Belliard hit that when he hit that grand slam was because I think the reason why he popped up so fast because in the back of his mind he knew that was a possibility, and he thought about it. And when you think about something and you basically are like manifesting it, so he basically kind of knew that was gonna happen, and he was pissed about that shit. So, man, like I swear, like I wish they had like a videotape or like a footage of that, man. Because soon as that ball hit that bat, man, that motherfucker he just stood up and headed for the exits, man. Oh man, that was funny, man. Uh, all right. Here's the next one. Funny moment number. Okay, now we're on number 6. Man, so this goes back to my days in elementary school at Sligo, man. Yeah, I went to Sligo Elementary School, and man, man, this is stupid. So, anyways, what happened was every lunch period, right? So I went to Sligo. It's a 7-day Adventist school, and we used to eat like vegetarian food, so instead of getting like taco salad, right, they give us something called haystacks, and it would be soybeans on top of like nachos and lettuce and tomatoes and salsa and stuff, and those were called haystacks. Um, but we had like paid lunches or whatever, so all we do is show up, and then they would serve us lunch every day for lunch. But we had this one dude in our school. His name was John Morrell, man. This dude John. And John brought the same thing to lunch every day, man. Like John brought in he'd always have like a burrito, right? Like he'd have a burrito that he'd bring in, like those little microwavable burritos. And his burritos that he had, like the edges weren't folded tight. Like the edges weren't folded that tight. You know what I'm saying? So man, every lunch, man, we would get our food, we sit at the table, and then John would heat up his burrito, and the only seat that was left at the table was next to Brian Spraggins, man. That was the only seat that was left open was for Brian, or was next to Brian. And every fucking time, man, Brian would Brian would smash this dude's burrito. Just- he would smash his burrito, man. That shit was the funniest shit, man. Like it was the way he would do it, man. Brian would sit there, and we'd be eating our food or whatever, and then Brian would look around the table, and you see John. John would come sit down with his burrito, and Brian would take his fork, and he did this like big dramatic like thing where he would like make this like funny sound, and it's almost kind of like Jaws, you know what I'm saying? But he would make this sound where he go, this is his fork, right? He go, and he would smash his he would put his fork in the middle of his burrito, and all the filling of his burrito would come out on one side, and John would be like, no, 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 oh come on, man. Like he wouldn't like make a mess of it, but it was just the fact that he would like just push the meat out, or push the inside of his burrito on his plate out, man. That shit was the funniest shit ever, man. I would if I had to take a guess, man, Brian probably smashed that dude's burrito probably like at least 200 times, man. It just got and you would think that John, like if he had enough common sense, man, that he would get up earlier and heat up his burrito earlier, right? Or go sit somewhere else on the table. But there was always a seat next to Brian, and he always sat next to Brian, because there were other seats at the table that were open, but he would sit next to Brian. And man, Brian, like clockwork, man, he would sit there, he look at us, he look around the table, and go, ding, 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 ding. And John would say, no, no, man, no, no. Fucking smash his burrito, man. That shit was the funniest shit. And what it was too, it was he would use John's fork. That's what it was. That's why John couldn't do anything, because he would have John's fork, you know. But it wasn't nothing like crazy where he would like mess it all up. But it was just enough to where it was like he would just not like push out the. Anyways, that to me, still to this day makes me laugh, man, because I think the reason why it made me laugh so much is because John would sit next to Brian every time with other seats that were open, and it was like, you gotta know, man. Like, yo, this dude is gonna smash your burrito every lunch, man. Like, if you're gonna do it, already smash it so that way he has nothing to smash, you know. And then it would just be John's reaction would just be like, man, come on, man, man, no, man, oh man. And then Brian would prolong it, man. That shit was the dumbest shit. Oh man, that was funny. And during the whole lunch, man, I just couldn't stop laughing at that shit. What else, man? Yeah, this is a funny one right here, man. What these are all funny to me, you know. Um, but this is number 5. So yeah, this is when my mom found my tapes, you know. Oh man, she found my tapes. Oh, what happened? Oh man, so all right, so back in the day, like back in the 90s, man, you know, used to have those used to have, like right now you got the IG models, right? You got the big booty IG models and shit, right? But back in the day, you had the online vixens, right? Like you had like Scarlett, or you had like Joyrider, you know what I'm saying? So like Scarlett was like was like the one back then, you know what I mean? And I had a roommate, so I'm kind of prefacing the story a little bit. But anyways, I had a roommate. His name was Mike. This was in college. I had a roommate named Mike, and we call him White Mike. And he he saw my computer screen one day, and I was on scarlettsworld.com, right? And Scarlett was like, she didn't do like nudity, but she would show a lot of cheeks, you know what I'm saying? And my roommate, he was like, he saw it on my screen and was like, ew, dude, gross. She's huge. I'm like, nah, man, that's just right. And then he went out and told, because I was in a suite, and one side it was me and Mike, the other side it was Chris and Tat. So he went out and snitched on um he went out and snitched on me, and he went and got Tat and Chris to come in the room. He's like, dude, look at this, man. He's like, man, this ass is just humongous, man. Like, this is just too much. And Tat and Chris started laughing. They were like, nah, man, that's just right. And he's like, man, what is it with you guys, man? You guys, that ass is huge. And then Tat was like, man, what kind of ass you like? And Mike was like, I like my ass to fit in the palm of my hand. And we were like, nah, that's too small, man. But anyways, now we what happened, man? We anyways, now so I had to preface that because like Scarlett's World, or Scarlett was like, I think she was part of this whole clique online. It was called New York Chocolate Models, right? They still might be around. I don't know. I haven't looked up New York Chocolate Models no more, but I remember back in the day, I used to subscribe to New York Chocolate Models, man. They were thick, beefy chicks, man. Like, you know, thick joints, you know what I'm saying? And I used to get the tapes in the mail. And I used to try to be slick, right? And I would peel the label off the tapes and then put the blank label on top, you know? So I had a Polaroid. So I would take the label of the tape off, and then I would put, you know, I would put the Polaroid label on top to make it look like it was a blank tape. But then I would put it at the bottom of my um like, I had these little totes, you know, and it would be at the bottom of my totes. So I guess my mom was cleaning out my room one like when I was away at school. My mom was cleaning out my room, and I think she must have thought she found some blank tapes. And I think she tried to either take Murder She Wrote or something over it. But then when she went back to go watch Murder She Wrote, she saw New York Chocolate Models. You know what I'm saying? So I remember, like, I came home either for the summer or for the winter. I can't remember. But I'm like in the living room downstairs watching TV, and my mom was like cleaning out the back room, and she was like, "Yeah, well, like while you at it, you got to go back there. You got stuff you got to get rid of. You got to get rid of this. You got to get rid of that." And she just stopped, and then the next thing she said, she just said, "Oh," and she said it just like this. She was like, "Yeah, you got to get this. You got to go through that. You got to go through this, and oh, and nigga, I found your tapes." I couldn't hide. I couldn't hide. I couldn't hide that laugh. I couldn't hide from nothing. First I was trying to be like, what I was like, what tapes, nigga? I was laughing so fucking hard, man. I was like, shit, found my tapes, man. So I think the reason why that shit was funny was because she was like setting that up, and then she knew she was getting to the tapes, and then I tried to like play it off like I didn't know what she was talking about, man. That shit was funny, man. Oh man, New York chocolate models. I wonder where they are now. Uh, this is number 4, right? This is number 4, man. So number 4 is oh man, this is number 4, right? So like I said, right? Um, so back in the 90s when we had our computer in the computer room, you know what I mean? Um, like like I never I never went to the bad sites. You know what I'm saying? I never went to them sites. You know what I'm saying? Like the bad sites is like, so for those that don't know, you got hardcore, which is like hardcore porn, and then you got softcore, which is like what you see when you see on Instagram with the IG models, allegedly. You know? And I remember like back in the day, like the site I would go to would be either like joyrider.com or I go to Scarlet's World, right? Like no nudity, you know what I'm saying? Just a lot of, I mean, maybe like a thong, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that, but it'd be all cheeks, you know what I'm saying? And I remember I clicked on something on that page, right? Because I clicked on something. I thought it was a link to like another one. It was something where, like, long story short, I clicked on something that basically was a virus, right? So as stuff started popping up, I did the whole Control Alt Delete, and I found all of the what do you call those things, man? I found all the activities that were going on, and I canceled and deleted, a lot of the actions that were going on, and I thought I caught everything, right? Um, but then one day my dad went to use the computer, and my dad, all I remember was my dad shouted my name, man. All I remember, man, my dad shouted, man. He was like, he's like, Jay, he's like, Jay, what the fuck is going on with this computer? He's like, I see dick and pussy and balls all on the screen. What the fuck is going on? And he's clicking. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? And I don't know, maybe someone else used a computer and looked and clicked on some other shit, that started some other shit. You know what I'm saying? But my dad called my name or shouted my name out and was like, Jay, what? He's like, man, what the fuck is going on here? All I see is dick and all I see is dick and pussy and balls on the screen. What the fuck is going on here? And the shit was bad. Like whatever virus got into our computer, man. Like it was bad, man. So he had to call his friend Tom up, who basically like worked for him in the office, and Tom came in, and Tom was speaking in code the whole time. Tom came in and was like, "Yeah, it looks like someone compiled some bad C code." Right? And he would get in there and said, "Yeah, we're gonna make sure that we compile our code right next time, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." Right? He basically cleaned it up or whatever. But that was that. Like I never did that shit again. But man, that shit was hilarious, man. Like my dad was sitting there clicking. And he just, it was like the more he clicked, like 10 times more pop-ups came up. All you hear is him clicking, click, 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 click. Trey, what the fuck is going on, man? All I see on the screen is dick and pussy and ball. What the fuck is going on? He was clicking. Oh, that shit was fucking funny, man. Oh, oh, that was stupid. Oh man. Oh shit. That was to this day, that shit when I look back, it's like the more he clicked, 10 times more shit would just pop up, man. And it was like pop-ups on top of pop-ups, man. That shit was bad, man. Oh man. What's the other joint? Other funny moments, man. Oh, this one's stupid, man. So yeah, I played I tried to play Division 1 football um in the Big East back in the early 2000s. You know, I was a walk-on, and I was trying to play receiver. I was trying to play receiver and special teams. I was trying to be the Black Steve Tasker, you know? And man, the fuck happened, man? 1 second. Um yeah, so I tried out for yeah, I tried to be a yeah, so I tried to play receiver. I tried to play receiver in special teams. And if you ever meet me in person, I'm not that big. I'm only like 5'7". I ain't no damn 5'7". I'm like 5'5". Back then I was like shit. Back then I was like 150. No, back then I was 159 pounds wet. Like I could not gain weight for nothing. Like I could eat like a horse and like not gain any weight. But anyways, there was this dude in our on the wide receiver team. His name was Willie Pass. And Willie, man, was like he looked like a fullback trying to play receiver. Like he wasn't like slim. He was like he looked like he could play. It looks like he played either like linebacker or like strong safety or like a fullback. Like he didn't look like a receiver. And Willie Pass, man, had like he always had the new he always had the newest equipment, you know. So I don't know how he got it, but he must have been friends with the training staff or the equipment people, because he always had a new pair of white cleats, always had a new shiny helmet. He had new gloves. Like this dude always had the newest shit on, man. Like he always had the new stuff. And I don't know what it was, man, but this dude was shiny. Like he always like it looked like he just wore Vaseline. Like this dude was always just shiny. You know what I'm saying? And he couldn't run routes for shit. Like when he ran routes, he would look like he would do like a bunny hop and then do this. And then he just like he couldn't anyways, long story short, I'm not trying to bash Willie Pass, man, but Willie was funny, man. I remember so when I played football, we used to have to be out we used to have to get out of class at 3:30, and then we had to be dressed and in the film room by 4 o'clock p.m. Then we watch film for like an hour, 2 hours. Then we get on the bus, go to the field house, and then practice for another 2 hours, right? So man, Willie Pass, man, would talk all this shit in the film study room. Like he would talk like, oh yeah, man. And he'd be like, yeah, in high school, I was like, top recruit, and I got my film tape, and oh man, my tape is so good, my tape is dope. That's all we heard all year long about this dude's tape, right? So finally, coach was like, man, bring your tape in, man. We're gonna watch it and we'll let you know, how good you were in high school. So finally, he brings in the tape. when he put the tape in, when he put the tape in, it was like the same school, but it was like different niggas on the team. And he was trying to say that was all him. Like you had one dude that was tall and lanky that was catching passes and running around. You had another dude that was short and stocky, but they all had different numbers, and none of them looked like Willie Pass. And we're sitting there like all the receivers in the backs were sitting there watching the tape, and then we're sitting there, we're trying not to say nothing, and all of a sudden, our wide receiver coach just this is the mic drop right here. Our wide receiver coach just says, "Willie Pass, that is not you." Oh shit! And he didn't even try to argue. Like that shit was. He didn't even try to argue that shit. That's what made it funny. Oh man, we was in that bitch dying, man. Oh, that was hilarious, man. Oh, that was too funny, man. That was like one of the fun. That was like one of the funniest moments I've like. I just couldn't stop laughing when that happened, man. And I think the reason why that was so funny was because like he kept hyping it up, you know, like he was like, nah, man, back in high school, man, I was a shit, you know, back in high school, man, hey, man, no one could check me, hey, man, no one could guard me, man, he's like, man, I was it, he's like, man, I was it, and then he brought that tape in. It was a tape with like 5 different niggas on it, and he tried to say that was all him. Oh man, oh man, so that was funny moment number 3 for me, man. uh what else, man? Now these are the top 2 funny moments to me of all time right here, man. Top 2 funny moments where I could not stop laughing. Uh so back around in the early mid 2000s, there was a preacher named Reverend X, you know, aka Spirit of Truth. Spirit of Truth. So I forgot where I was. No, I was in the mall, and my man said called me, and said just called me laughing. Like he just called me like laughing. And like I was like, what is motherfucker laughing so hard at, man? So he called me, and then he laughed for about a good 2 minutes. And he was like, yo, I'm gonna send you something, man. You gotta watch this shit. And he hung the phone up, and I watched it, and it was Reverend X, man. It was this light skinned dude. He's like this gangster West Coast reformed like preacher, but he be cussing when he preach, you know. And man, the cameraman was like terrible, right? Because the cameraman, let me just show you what he was doing, right? Like the cameraman, like you would see like Reverend X, and he'd be doing he'd be doing this shit because the camera and the special effects were so bad. He's like, you find it funny? You find it funny? What are you laughing at, biatch? And he was taking calls, and people were talking shit when they were calling into him, and he'd be like, oh man, like he had this like big ass Bible in his cane, and someone called in and said it looked like the yellow pages. He was like, yeah, it looked like the yellow pages. Well, I guess if you got to take the side of Satan, then, motherfucker. I guess like he was going off, man, and just cussing out the callers, man. That was the funniest shit. He had so many quotables, man. Like, yeah, one dude called in, and the dude called in saying he was the devil, and he was like, "You the devil, huh? Huh? So." He'd be like, "The devil's a motherfucking liar, huh? Huh? Huh?" So I just gotta play the clip for y'all. Man, I don't have it on me, but man, he would just have so many quotables, man. He'd be like, "Man, well, I guess if you got to take the side of Satan, then you are Satan, motherfucker." To this day, when I watch it, just go on YouTube and put in Reverend X, Spirit of Truth, man. And he's playing um P Funk's what's that song? One nation under a groove, getting down just for the funk of it. And he's sitting there floating around. Oh man, that shit was the funniest shit I ever. That's like one of the funniest shit I ever seen, man. Then he made more videos, but they weren't. I mean, he was like, the thing is, so the reason why that was funny was because he was being sincere, you know. He was like passionate, like he believed that shit, like he wasn't putting on no show, like that was him, you know. But then the other videos you kind of saw, okay, yeah, he's trying to like, he wasn't trying to be funny, but it was like, nah. But this one, the main one is when you see this man doing this, and he fucking floating in a circle. Oh man. And then he had one caller calling, I think her name was Mimi. And Mimi called in. And what did she say? She said, like, I don't believe, like, you know, the like you're sent by God and all this. And then he just said, Mimi. He said, I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. Oh man. What were some of the quotables, man? He's like, I don't give a fuck what you think about me, bitch. He said, I'm sent from God to do God's work. And he's preaching up there preaching and cussing. And he got this big ass phone book, or it's the Bible. And then he would just cut people off. He'd be like, Tom, next caller. Oh man. Like, I know I sound silly right now, man, but just put in Spirit of Truth, man, and just watch that shit, man. And you gonna, this motherfucker doing this shit. Funniest shit I ever seen. One of the funniest shit I ever seen, man. All right. So now the number one funniest moment to me of all time, or where I just couldn't stop laughing, was Kings of Comedy Bernie Mac set for the first time I saw it. Man, I was in the theater when I saw this shit, man. I actually worked in the movie theater. And did I work in the theater? Yeah, I had to work there because I remember it came out and I went to college the following year. But I went to see Kings of Comedy. I don't know why, if I was too young to get in or what. I can't remember like the whole story around it. But I went to see Kings of Comedy, man. And excuse me. And when I went, there was like hardly no one in. There was like hardly anybody in the theater. It was only like maybe like 4 people in there. It was like no one in that joint. But it just came out or whatever. And you know, I grew up on Comic View, man. Like, you know, when I was a kid growing up, man, it was DuckTales, Tailspin, Rescue Rangers, um, then Comic View. Like, it was that window, right after school, man. Like, I grew up off of all that Disney stuff, and then it was BET Comic View, and then on Friday nights it was Def Jam. So I watched all that shit. I know all them. I know all the people's jokes about heart. Like, I watched that religiously. Um, but I remember like when Kings of Comedy came out, you know, you saw some of the people, you know, that were on. Like, you saw DL was the original host of Comic View, and then Sid was the host of Comic View, and then you saw some Def Jam. So it was. So when I saw it in the theater, it was right when I saw it in the theater, it was like, it was weird because I didn't know like what it even was, you know. And I just went because I was like, shit, if I watch Comic View and Def Jam, I know I'm gonna like this. So, man, I remember I had a popcorn, I had some candy, and I had a soda. And up until the point where um like all the comics were funny. Like, Steve was hosting, Steve was funny, you know, DL was funny, and then they brought on Sid was funny. But when Bernie Mac got on, man, from the moment his voice hit the mic, man, I felt like my soul got snatched out my body, man. Like, it wasn't even, I can't even explain it, man. It was like his jokes weren't clever. It wasn't about being clever. Cause I actually went and I wrote out Bernie Mac's set for Kings of Comedy, and the jokes written out are not funny, right? But it was how he said that shit, man. It was how he said that shit. And like, you know, just everything, every sound that came out of his mouth was a dagger. And I remember at one point, man, like I stood up. I didn't even stand up. Like my body just like did its own thing. Like my body just stood up, and the popcorn and the candy were all in the air. Like you know when LeBron does the whole powder shit, that was my popcorn and candy during the first time when I saw Bernie Mac in Kings of Comedy, man. Candy and popcorn everywhere, man. And I was on my back in the aisle. Like I was on my back literally in the aisle, like laughing. And I just could not stop, man. Like there wasn't even sound coming out of my laughter. Like that joke he did, like when he gets like he did a joke in Kings of Comedy about getting hit by Big Mama, and he knocked the pause in your throat, like you know what I'm saying, and you pause, and you go, and like there's no sound that comes out. That's how I was laughing on the floor, man. And I literally thought to myself, man, I was like, yo, if Burn don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna die. Like I literally thought I was going to die because that's how funny that shit was to me, man. Like that whole set was legendary, man. Um, man, that was like the funniest shit I seen ever, ever. Even to this day, when I go back and watch it, it's like you can't like now. Obviously, I'm not gonna laugh as hard as I did back then. Now when I watch it, but man, like the fact that when it comes on, or if it's set is on TV somewhere, it's like I have to just finish. I have to finish watching that set, man. That shit was the funniest shit, man. It wasn't even. It was like, you know what it was? It was the conviction that he had behind what he was saying. That's what made the shit so funny. It was the conviction behind what he said. There was no hesitation. There was no delay. There was no nothing. It was just he was just he was just telling you how it was. He was telling you how it is. You know what I'm saying? And he would say little shit in between, man. Like he's like, I don't believe in shit until shit happened. He said, New Year's come, y'all done went out and bought party meat soup. Just man, he was just the way he was saying that shit, man. Oh man, that shit had me fucking crying, man. Um, and just we was talking about he was talking about getting head from Chuck. He's like, yeah, I got attention long time ago. And then just his facial expressions, man. He was like, then they want to do a bad job. And then they want to look at you while you're doing it. Then they want to look at you. Like, what you want me to tell you? You're doing a good job? Keep up the good work? Oh, man. That set, man. That was like the funniest shit I ever seen, man. That was like, yeah, that was hands down the funniest moment. The funniest. That's the funniest. That's the time I think I laughed the hardest in life, man. Like I said, I thought I was gonna die, and it was like he just kept going, man, and just kept going. Like there was no pause, there was no hesitation. It was just a train wreck during the whole set, man. And like I said, I was watching the joint like throughout the whole through with Steve Harvey and DL and said I was laughing. It was like that shit was funny. But when Byrne got up there, man, nigga, candy, popcorn, LeBron James, nigga, that shit was in the air, yo. And I was on my back, crying, man, begging this dude to stop, man. Just yo, stop. I'm like, if he don't shut up, there's a good chance I'm gonna die. Like I felt like I was gonna die laughing at that shit. So, anyways, those are my top 10 moments that made me laugh the most, I think, throughout life. Um, if I think of anything else, I'll probably do another episode where I gather some more. But these were the ones that kind of like, just like stood out in my memory, what are some of your funny moments, man? Put them in the chat, man. Let me know, Like a lot of times we laugh at stupid shit, but I think it's important to like know or to at least try to understand why you laugh at certain shit, because to me, like, great comedians can make you laugh whether you want to or not, whether you like them or not, you know? And I feel like we're in a weird era in comedy right now where I feel like we're being retrained on how to laugh, and we're being recalibrated to what people think funny is. Like, to me, you know, if you have to think about something before you laugh at it, then it's not really, I'm not gonna say it's not funny, but it's like, it's definitely pleasant. But the kind of comedy I grew up on, man, it was like, whether you wanted to laugh or not, man, it was they were snatching them laughs out of you, you know? Laughs were just getting snatched out of people. And sometimes, like, when I was in school, like, we have class clowns and people do shit that, is messed up or whatever, or say messed up things, but the shit would be funny. Like, it would just snatch the laugh out, you know what I'm saying? Right? And then you laughing, but then you feel bad for laughing, right? But I think a lot of times, a lot of people laugh at shit, and we're in this culture now where it's like, we're in this cancel culture era where if you laugh at the wrong thing, or if someone says the wrong thing, even though if it gets laughs, people will get canceled. But I think you have to kind of, we have to understand, why we laugh. Like, that's one thing I always do. If I laugh at something, I'm asking myself, why did I laugh? Right? I'm dissecting that shit. Like, why did I laugh at this shit? You know? Like, for example, let me give you an example, right? Like, there's one comedian out named Henry Coleman. Like, he's one of the funniest comedians out right now. One of the funniest dudes that I know, man. Motherfucker funny, man. And just everything is a bar. Like, he writes so tight. Everything is a bar. But he had this joke about Lizzo, right? And like, how, like the premise of the joke is that is is Lizzo is giving big girls too much confidence. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the backbone of the joke. And the line that he says that's messed up, but it's funny, is he says, he, this is not me, but this is the line. This is the line. You can go look it up on YouTube, right? But the line is, um, big bitches were the backbone of the nigga community. You know what I'm saying? And he just goes down this whole rationale about why that was. And when I was there when he was doing that joke at the Laugh Factory, and you could hear my laugh in the back because I'm cackling in the back, you know. But it's funny because there was like a lot of big women there, and they were laughing, you know, like they weren't insulted by it. But the reason why they weren't insulted by it was because, and this is just my thought process, but I think the reason why they weren't insulted by it was because he gave them power in the joke, right? That's the key to comedy, man. Is he knew how to he knew to give them power in the joke, so he's not punching down on them. And the way he gave them power was, you know, they had the key to the house, right? So basically, it was them asking for their key back. You know what I'm saying? So, so I'm not doing the joke because that's not my joke. That's Henry Coleman's joke. It's one of the funniest jokes that I like. But when I was laughing, I'm like, man, this shit is kind of like mean, but it wasn't mean once you like peeled away the layers and looked at, okay, why am I laughing at this shit? You know what I'm saying? So I think people need to, in general, need to be encouraged to just laugh at whatever without thinking, to try to see if it's okay to laugh or not laugh. And then once you laugh at something naturally, like it's like pepper, right? Comedy to me is like pepper, right? If you put pepper in your nose, you're gonna sneeze, right? That to me is how, like, that to me is the mark of a great comedian, right? No matter what they look like, no matter how much you dislike them, if they say something in a certain way, you gonna laugh whether you want to or not, right? And then the key is, I think, is trying to understand why it was, or why you were laughing at what you were laughing at. But anyways, I'm not gonna be long-winded. I kind of I think I said all I need to say. Oh man, I almost forgot. Man. Okay, let me put this here right quick. My bad. Um, man, I was rambling and forgot this. Boom. AT is where it's at. Almost forms of social media. So make sure you follow me. So that's all I got, man. So without further ado, I'm out here, folks. Peace. Yep. Tripping with Theobold.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Tripping. Yep. Tripping. Tripping. Tripping with Theobold.
Tripping with Theobold.